Hello class, you're welcome to Direct Stars. In our mathematics class today, we're looking at multiplying and dividing standard form. Last week, we looked at how to convert numbers to standard form, and today we'll be looking at multiplying and dividing standard form. The aim of this lesson is to understand steps in multiplying and dividing standard form, and the objective of this class is that at the end of this class, you know how to multiply in standard form and also know how to divide in standard form. In our last class, we looked at the format in which we can use to write a standard form, and that is A multiplied by 10 raised to the power of n, where A, which is the first number, is a number that is greater than or equals to 1, but less than 10. And n, which is a power, can be any negative or a positive integer. Let's now look at how to multiply and divide numbers given in standard form. The first one that we're going to look at here is how to multiply in standard form. In this first example here, we have 6 times 10 raised to the power of 8, then times 1.5 times 10 raised to the power of 5. And how are we going to go about this? Since we are multiplying to standard form, the first thing we're going to do here is to multiply the first number. That's 6 times 1.5. So we have 6 multiplied by 1.5. We have this to give us 9. So the next thing we're going to do here is to add up the powers. Since we are multiplying, so the multiplication sign is going to change to addition for the powers. So we're adding up these two powers, that's 8 plus 5. Then we have 8 plus 5. We're going to have this to be 13. We're going to have our answer here now to be, the first number will be 9 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 13. So this is how to multiply numbers in standard form. Let's look at how to divide in standard form. So we still have 6 times 10 raised to the power of 8. Then divide by 1.5 times 10 raised to the power of 5. And how are we going to go about this? The first thing we're going to do here is to divide the first number. We're going to divide the first number. Then that will be 6 divide by 1.5. 6 divided by 1.5, we're going to have this to be 4. Then for the powers, since we are dividing, the division sign is going to change to subtraction. So we are subtracting 8 minus 5. Then we have 8 minus 5. We're going to have this to give us 3. We can now have our answer now to be 4 times the power, that will be 10 raised to the power of 3. So we're going to demonstrate this in the 4 examples that we're looking at in this topic. In our first example, we're asked to multiply 3 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 9 times 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of minus 4. So here we are multiplying these two standard form. So just like same thing that we did when we were demonstrating how to multiply in standard form, we are multiplying 3 times 2. With 3 times 2, we're going to have this to be 6. Then for the powers, the multiplication sign is going to change to addition. So we are adding up 9 plus minus 4. So we have this to be 9 plus minus 4. Plus times minus, we're going to have this to be minus. Then we can have this to be 9 minus 4. Then we have 9 minus 4. This is going to give us 5. Then we can have our answer now to be 6 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 5. So this is the first example. So now let's look at the second example. Here we are dividing. Then we are asked to divide. That's 8 times 10 raised to the power of minus 4. Divide by 2 times 10 raised to the power of minus 5. And how are we going to be about this? We are dividing the first number. We are dividing the first number. Then that's 8 divide by 2. 8 divided by 2, this is going to give us 4. And for the powers, we are subtracting the powers. That's minus 4 minus minus 5. Since division sign is going to change to subtraction, so we have minus 4 minus minus 5. Now, since we have minus times minus to give us plus, so we can have this to be minus 4 plus 5. Then minus 4 plus 5, we're going to have this to give us 1. You can now have our final answer here now to be 4, which is the first number. That's 4 times 10. You can say that 4 times 10 is power 1, 4 times 10. I can also have it to be 40. Now let's look at the third example. The third example is different from example 1 and example 2. Here, your answer must be in standard form. Then if your answer is not in standard form, then you have to make it to be a standard form. And that's what we're going to look at in example 3 and example 4. Example 3. Here we're asked to multiply, that's 5 times 10 raised to the power 6 times 3.5 times 10 raised to the power of minus 4. Then how are we going to be about this? The first thing we're going to do here is to multiply the first number. That's 5 times 3.5. Five times 3.5, we're going to have this to be 17.5. 17.5. Then for the powers, we are finding the sum. So we're going to have the powers to be 6 times we change to plus, we have plus, then we have minus 4. We have plus times minus give us minus, we're going to have this to be 6 minus 4. And that's going to give us 2. So we can have this, that's 17.5 times 10 raised to the power of 2. But if you look at this, this is not in standard form. Why? Because the first number is greater than 10. Don't forget that I said it at the beginning of this class, that the first number, which is a, must be greater than 1, but less than 10. So what we're going to do here is to make 17.5 to be smaller, meaning that we're going to reduce it by 1 decimal place. So you're going to have 17.5 to be, that's 1.75. Then making 17.5 to be smaller by 1 decimal place means that we are going to add 1 to the powers. Then we're going to have our answer now to be 1.75 times 10. We have 2 to be the power, then we're adding 1 to it. 2 plus 1, we're going to have here to be 3. And this was going to have to be our answer. If you look at 1.75, it's greater than 1, but less than 10. So this was going to have to be our answer. The last example in this class, we have example 4. 4 times 10 raised to the power of 3 divide by, we have 800,000, that's 5 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have to divide this. If you look at the second number, it is not in standard form. So it means that we have to change that 800,000 to standard form. Then we have 4 times 10 raised to the power of 3 divided by 800,000 in standard form. We're going to have it to be 8 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 5. The next thing we're going to do here is to divide the first number. Then we have 4 divided by 8. 4 divided by 8, we're going to have this to be 0.5. Then for the powers, the division sign is going to change to subtraction. So we are going to have this to be 3 minus 5. Then we have 3 minus 5 to be minus 2. So we have 0.5 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of minus 2. But looking at this is not in standard form. Why? Because the first number is less than 1. The first number is less than 1. So it means that we have to make 0.5, which is first number here, to be bigger. It means that we have to increase it by 1 decimal place. Increasing it by 1 decimal place will reduce the power by 1 as well. So we're going to have this, making this bigger by 1 decimal place. It's just moving the decimal point to the right-hand side. So we're going to have it to be 5. Then times, so we are subtracting 1 from minus 2, which is the power. So we have minus 2 minus 1 to be minus 3. So we have the answer here to be 10 minus 3. So this will be our final answer when we multiply or divide 4 times 10 raised to the power 3 divided by 8 times 10 raised to the power 5. So that'll be all for today. And if you haven't subscribed, do well to subscribe now. Thank you and see you in the next class. Bye.